time. It's a specific for migraines, it's a specific for seizures.
The take on the plant is that it's symbiotic with the human.
If you can get something that's natural, that has literally zero side effects.
It works as almost a ubiquitous inhibitor of a lot of systems in the brain.
The science is absolutely clear. The pharmaceuticalization of cannabis is just beyond the horizon.
I think it's easier for men to come out and say they support it because women have a lot more on the line. You know, if they're mothers, then they have their kids on the line.
So I tried it, and at first, it freaked me out. I had a few panic attacks.
We know that cannabis can prevent Alzheimer's, and if it can reduce all these ailments and keep your stress level low, that adds years to your life before you're even sick.
And so the petrochemical, pharmaceutical, military, industrial, transnational, corporate fascist meat SOBs vilified the cannabis plant.
We're all grown up now. We're not in the closet anymore. We don't give a fuck what you think. We smoke marijuana.
But once you just let go with it and just be, it does so many things.
Consciousness opens the doors of perception, expands consciousness, and puts you in a receptive state.
I like to say when I give lectures, I start off by saying I smoke pot and I like it a lot.
Part of what we're doing with Oregon NORML is trying to maximize the Oregon Medical Marijuana Act and try to help the patients that truly need the medicine.
America's ready for a change in the marijuana laws. We're reached critical mass to change this critical mass.
Let's hope we can all live together in peace and harmony, love, and legalize marijuana, for God's sake.
You know, America, I believe, is the greatest country in the world for many reasons. It's certainly the greatest country for me as a human being to live in, and I'm proud to be born here, but America's not perfect, and she's made mistakes. And just like, you know, we used to march Native Americans, you know, to their death with children in their arms and stuff, and we enslaved African Americans who couldn't get the right to vote until I was 2 years old. You know, America's pot laws are a big mistake, and I think will be looked back upon as one of the biggest black spots on America's history at some point, you know. And because essentially America's pot laws are fixing a problem that never existed, and in the process denying millions of Americans their constitutionally endowed rights, their human rights and their endowed civil rights. So, you know, there's been literally military use, unprecedented. The United States military used against its own citizens. It's never happened before. It's been happened during the drug war. It's happened to marijuana people. We've had helicopters and people dropping on ladders and stuff. That doesn't happen normally in this country to anybody else. I mean, unprecedented violations of our constitutional freedoms have been done under the drug war, and 80–90% of those resources that they spent, the billions of taxpayer dollars, have been about marijuana. Not methamphetamine, not cocaine, not heroin, but marijuana. Even though nobody's ever died in 5,000 years of use of a toxic reaction or of an overdose of pot, but we all know that heroin and cocaine and methamphetamine and tobacco and alcohol are killing millions of people right now, today. So the hypocrisy is so thick, it's unimaginable. Hypocrisy is as thick as it is long from coast to coast. And it's changing finally. It's a peace movement, it's a freedom movement. But to us, the people that work to put on Hemp Fest, it's not about pot, it's not about hemp, it's not about medical marijuana. This is about freedom.
I had a herniated disc, and what it was causing was the disc bulges, and it goes into your sciatic nerve, and it causes your leg to become weak. So you could just be literally walking, and all of a sudden your leg will just drop out, or it feels like you're being electrocuted. So anyway, so you either try physical therapy for a while, and if that doesn't work, you know, then you maybe acupuncture. If that doesn't work, you know, it's painkillers. Well, those can be very dangerous. And so, anyway, I had an episode with it. And I kind of had a happy accident down in LA. I went to move to LA, and I was really stressed out. Stressed out to the max. Already had gotten off the Vicodin, so that wasn't really an issue. But the stress, the anxiety, just of being thrown in a huge city that I've never been in. If you grew up in Portland, Oregon your whole life, that's going to be a bit much.
I've had 25 surgeries. I don't have a right ankle. It's been removed. I had degenerative bone disease. I've had asthma my whole life as well, and I'm allergic. Out of 120 things, I'm allergic to 87 things on the list, right? Whatever that fucking list is, it doesn't matter. I'm allergic to it. It includes morphine. It includes Advil. It includes aspirin. None of those things will do anything good for me but cause me pain and make me bleed and hurt me inside and outside or put me in the hospital for weeks at a time. I can't live with that, but I still have pain. What do I do for my pain?
I think you might like to know that I was born with congenital cataracts. So I've always been told that I was born totally blind. I also know that's not true because I remember too many visuals as a child. So even though, no, I didn't have perfect sight and the vision might have been extremely limited with those cataracts, but I did have some vision. But all of this became a real nightmare when this glaucoma showed up and the only thing that worked was cannabis. Can you imagine a doctor telling you if you don't start smoking marijuana, you're going to go blind? And you're 32 years old and you outlived the 60s without becoming a hippie, and you didn't know you were on drugs. Everybody in the 70s was, but yours were legal, and anyone that did the bad drugs were illegal.
I got the idea since I'm tied to Elvie Muzica. She's a federally supplied marijuana smoker. I've traveled the country on the hemp cannabis legalization campaign tour, so to speak. I mean, I've gone everywhere with Elvie. And I saw an opportunity to have a little fun and drive around in the limo, so I bought it, came back, and I went 420 limo, 420 being synonymous with marijuana, Elvie being the first female smoker to get marijuana from the federal government, 12 joints a day for glaucoma. She can go anywhere in the United States and cannot be arrested for marijuana. The federal government grows marijuana at the University of Mississippi for medical reasons, supplies it to 4 people in the United States, and screws everybody else up the ass saying there is no medical marijuana, we're going to put you in jail. Hypocritical bastards.
See, these friends of mine there said, hey, just take a hit off of this. This will relax you. So I tried it, and at first, it freaked me out. I had a few panic attacks, but once you just let go with it and just be, it does so many things, psychologically, physically, in so many ways. You can't count the things that it could do for you in that area. So that's why we need to legalize medical marijuana.
Well, I use medical marijuana. That's what I do, and I need it. It has become my medicine, but not just by chance. It happened, and when it did, and I realized it was my medicine, I put all my energies into making this legal. And I have to fight because I can fight. I do have a voice. I can get up and sing. I can get up and speak. I do have a television show, so I can do all those things. These people in the hospital bed are sick or don't have a voice or don't feel disenfranchised because of that. I feel like I have a voice for them, and so we have just fought hard and will never quit fighting for those people who don't have the voice, who've lost their voice, who've lost their ability to speak, or lost their ability to stand up in public because the law scares them, or they're afraid they're going to lose their children, or anything that's like that. It's not worthy. It's not worthy of a government to do that to any of its citizens. And we do this not only to our citizens, but the rest of the citizens of the world, because we force folks to do what they really don't want, and that's be against medical marijuana or hemp in any of its forms.
So eventually, like most people who get in those situations, I went to jail. Thing is, I had just lost that eye at the end of 87, and I was not adjusting to that well. I was really upset about it. But I had no idea how draconic the laws really were and what kind of trouble I was really asking for. Luckily, ignorance in that particular case was bliss, because I went straight to the press, and it amazed me the support of the community that was there. That particular challenge was the government wasn't too happy, but they didn't challenge me specifically, just a decision, and they took it through their Supreme Court in Florida, and we did establish a medical defense for the state of Florida on August 15, 1988.
When I was growing up, I was asthmatic. I was in and out of the hospital many times as a child and as a young adult with asthma. And it followed me all the way through my early adulthood. When I was 19, I went into the Marines. And 6 weeks into basic training, I had another attack of asthma and got discharged. So in 1968, a friend of mine came back from Bangkok, Thailand. He later became a doctor, so I'd always respected his opinion. And he brought back a duffel bag full of Thai stick. He says, "This is marijuana, Gatewood." He says, "I think you ought to try it. I think it'll help you." And I said, "Well, isn't that stuff dangerous, Teddy?" He says, "Oh, no, it'll be all right." And I took 2 hits off of it, and boom. I mean, it was like a monsoon on desert sand, you know. It was just, I felt all my pathways open up. And I haven't had anything approximating an asthma attack since that time. So I came to a realization that it cured my asthma. And, you know, it's a life-threatening disease, and I'd spent 21 years, as its victim. And so I made up my mind right there. That was in 1968. I made up my mind right there I was going to champion the cause. And so ever since that time, I've never looked back. I've been enunciated it for a long time.
I encourage you to learn the law. I encourage you to learn the political process. I encourage you to reach out there and take responsibility, your own freedom, live your life like a warrior. God bless you all. Thanks for having me out here in Seattle.
I have inflamed bowel disease with adhesions wrapped around my bowel. So I got this bowel going like this, and then I've got these really thick spider webs that are restraining it and restricting it. I have a crippling terminal disease called pseudo-hypoparathyroidism. In layman's terms, my thyroid and my parathyroid work, but my body doesn't know it, so I just pee out any nutrients and vitamins that I need to survive. So I've got a laundry list of ailments, and my choices of medication were very limited. I'm not a very big girl, so they've had me on Oxycontin and Duragesic morphine patches, and it just kicked my butt. I couldn't take care of myself. I couldn't live independent. I am a medical marijuana patient in an illegal state, and I just am fighting for my life, literally. I received a death sentence, but I believe I should have a choice on how I should live the rest of my life. Do I live really messed up on drugs, legal pharmaceuticals that I can't function, I'm sitting in a corner drooling, or do I search out something safer? Medical marijuana literally saved my life, and well, I'm saying it saved my life because it improved my quality of life. So, which makes my mind think, okay, you might have a shot at this. People's lives are at stake, and it's wrong to deny. And when law enforcement are wasting tax dollars, kicking in doors, shooting animals in front of children over a little bit of marijuana, which has never killed anyone, there's something wrong.
Talk to your